What's going on YouTube? In today's video, I have 5 progression hitting drills that's going to work your entire swing, starting from the load all the way to your finish. So let's get right into it. So for the first progression, we're going to work on the load. Now the problem you see with a lot of players, especially the younger ones, is their load is just a weight transfer back. Okay, but what it really is we're going to coil this hip. Okay, so as we load back, we want to coil this hip, sit and sink into this rear glute, and then retract the scapula, creating a stretch from our upper half and our lower half. Okay, so I've used this analogy before, but if you were going to spin a bottle, you wouldn't just grab the bottle and spin it, you would grab it and you would counter rotate and then spin it. Okay, that's going to generate more power, more energy as you counter rotate it and spin it. It's the same if you watch Price is Right. If you see them grab the wheel, you're not just going to grab it and go down with it. You're going to grab it, you're going to counter rotate it and then spin it. Okay, it's the same concept here with our swing. We're going to coil this hip and then release it. So for the drill, I'm going to place the tee and a ball right in front of the plate. We're going to stand with both feet facing this way. And we're going to grab our bat and we're just going to sit and sink and coil, retract the scapula, and then release. Okay, so it looks like this. So for the next progression of the drill, we're going to talk about the launch position. Okay, you hear me talk a lot about launch position on this channel because it's very important. Okay, so what launch position is as we coil back and stride forward, once that heel hits the ground, now we're in launch position. Okay, nothing happens with our hips, our swing, nothing happens until that heel hits the ground. Okay, quick recap of launch position, front foot slightly open, head's in the middle of our body, hands, elbow, shoulder, relatively on the same plane, with the knob of the bat facing the catcher. Okay, that's launch position. Okay, first movement after launch position is going to be our hips and then our core and our upper half, but we'll get to that in a second. So for the drill, we're going to place the tee right in front of the plate. We're going to get in launch position, and all we're going to do is we're going to lift up this heel and we're going to use it as a gas pedal. Okay, so we're going to lift it up, and then once that heel hits the ground, then we're going to start our swing. Okay, the problem that you see with a lot of players is they start their swing before their heel hits the ground and they really ground themselves with that front leg and then they get no power. Okay, so all we're going to do, launch position, we're going to lift up this heel, use the heel as a trigger or a gas pedal for the swing. So for the next progression of the drill, we're going to work on our legs and our lower half. Okay, so as we coil back, stride forward into launch position, first movement is our back hip's going to start to turn, back knee's going to start to drive underneath the hip, pulling the heel off the ground. As we do that, this front leg is going to start pushing off the ground, transferring energy up the body through the kinetic chain. Okay, so when we get to contact, head is above the back knee, front leg is straight. So for this drill, place the tee in front of the plate. We're going to grab an exercise ball, get into launch position. We're going to do one slow motion practice swing, and we're going to turn, drive this back knee underneath the hip, front leg goes straight, almost like we're squeezing this ball. Okay, so one slow motion, squeeze the ball, contact, make sure this front leg is straight, head is above the back knee, and then we're going to swing. Okay, front leg straight, head's above the back knee, squeezing the ball. Now for the next progression, we're going to talk about the roll of our arms. Okay, so once we get to launch position, what we want to do is we basically want to draw a straight line with the knob of the bat from facing the catcher towards the ball. Okay, talking about the lead arm, want to keep it in a nice, strong, firm position, and as we come through the turn, this shape of our arms doesn't really change. Okay, as we come through, it doesn't really change. Okay, so what we're going to do with this front arm, as we come through, it's going to start to work up through the zone like that. A few things we want to avoid is we want to keep this arm bent, so we don't want to bar it out like that as we come through. Another thing, we don't want to work down with this arm. Okay, we want to make sure that we work up through the zone. Now for the back arm, we're going to make sure that we keep this elbow nice and tight to the body as we come through our turn. Hand stays in front of the elbow, barrel stays tight to the shoulder. To contact, nice slight L in the arm, through. Now something I want to talk about that I see a lot of coaches teaching, which is correct, but if done incorrectly can be pretty harmful to the swing. Okay, what I'm talking about is once they get to here and once you start teaching this motion, okay, the turn of the barrel. So I see a lot of coaches focusing on snapping the wrist this way, which is good. You want to snap it down and turn the palm from down to up like that. But for the younger kids, you got to be careful that once they start doing this, that's when they start getting bat drag and their elbow starts to lead forward because they're just not strong enough to hold the turn. Okay, so bat speed starts from here. We're gonna come turn the palm from down up like that. That's where the barrel is gonna start to turn, but we just gotta make sure that we keep this hand in front of this elbow as we come through the turn like that. Okay, so bat speed is gonna start to come around like that. Hand stays in front of the elbow, barrel stays tight to the shoulder to contact. So for the drill, we're gonna grab a connection ball and place it in front of our front arm, keeping a slight bend in the arm. We're gonna get in launch position. And all we're gonna do is we're gonna do a nice slow turn, making sure that this front arm works up. We're gonna hit it at contact, okay? Avoid barring your arm out, avoid working your arm down. Okay, so it just looks like this. Okay, working this arm up like that. So now for the top hand, we want to get in the launch position. And again, we're going to come through the turn. Elbow stays nice and tight to the body. Hand stays ahead of this elbow. Barrel stays tight to the shoulder. At contact, we want a nice L in our arm. Okay, things we want to avoid getting ahead of our hands with this elbow and creating that bat drag. We want to make sure that we stay ahead. So palm's going to be facing down, coming up to the zone like that. Okay, so it looks like this. Try to make a little bit better contact with the ball, but that's it. So for the last progression of the drill, we're gonna talk about coming through contact and then extending straight out. Okay, so quick recap, coil the hips, load back, retract the scapula, stride forward, launch position, hips gonna turn, back knee drive, front side pushing, turn the torso, hands come through, front arm working up to contact. After here, we want to make sure that we come through the zone, extending straight out, palm up, pointing out towards the field. Now, things we want to avoid is we want to avoid coming through and then prematurely rolling over those wrists and finishing down here. And we want to avoid working down with this front arm and finishing down here. Okay, so again, contact, extend, pointing straight out. So for the drill, we're going to grab a split grip, get into launch position, and all we're going to do is come through contact and finish at extension, pointing out towards the field. Okay, so it looks like this. Okay, making sure that we're pointing out there, not down here, and we're not rolling over. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you found value in the video, please hit that like button below and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any videos, and I'll see you guys next week.